Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's episode in Conversation with. Today we have with us one of my closest buddies from childhood, and we kind of grew up together, studying in the same school. And I have the honor of introducing him to him. He is Saikat Mukherjee. Saikat, welcome to tonight's session. I'm very glad and honored to have you here.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy. The feeling is mutual.
Okay,
We have
so
been, just talking about school. I don't think it's just the school. I think we go back from senior KG, right? From those days to our junior college and everything else, right?
right. So that's yeah, that's one of the things. Saikat, we'll try and cover up a few topics here. First of all, breaking news today that's our favorite MS Dhoni has retired. What are your reactions on it?
Well, just to add on to it, even Raina has retired. My friend Raina has also retired, by the way.
Oh.
The yeah. So yes, of course, you know how big a fan I am of MSD.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy has left nothing that needs to be done. Right from the World Cup to Champions Trophy to number one in Test.
yeah,
Uh, I mean, one of the smartest cricketers or the thinking cricketers that we had uh, in the Indian cricket team. And I mean, with you, it's fun always talking about cricket because we come back from the days when the first or the second wicket went down, and you would be like disappointed. Oh my God! Now the game is gone. And now it has come to a level where I know that even we are 6 for 3. Just for example, the World Cup semis, and it's a huge thing, man. That, oh no, we still have MSD, and he have pulled of matches which we never dreamt that it could have been done. So I mean, hats off to the man. I will surely miss his quips from behind the stump. And more than us, I think Virat Kohli will have it very very tough now for him.
yeah. What he's a legend of the game, and he has captured the imagination of the public. And to play in a country like India, where the expectations of the crowd is never ending. We being one of them, we
Yeah,
everyone wants their team to win each and every time. Right? In
right.
sport, it doesn't happen. So of his career, high and low. And Raina, like I recollect when we were discussing way back in our school days, sorry, in our college and other time, you had mentioned that you had been in a camp with Raina. Can you shed us
Right,
a little bit of time, shed more light on it?
right. This was way back in 2002, 2003, and this was the regional camps that were going on, and I was selected to represent Maharashtra
Yeah,
for the states later on, and then I went on to meet quite a bit of characters, quite a few characters there in the camp. But I vividly remember Rena from that, Raidu from that.
yeah.
Uh, fantastic guy. He's very, very friendly.
Uh-huh.
He did, I mean, but we rather called him the left-handed Dravid in
I
those
recollect
days.
that. Yeah,
And it was fun, and everything was fun in games when you were in the nets and we were playing and practicing against each other and stuff like that. So he would like he would challenge you that okay, 3 balls, 7 runs to win or something like that, and he pulled it off. I mean, doesn't matter. You ball him a short one, you ball him a Yorker, he will find a way. And that's from that game or from those trips. What I remember is I started thinking more about the game. From that perspective. Before that, it was just mechanics. You go, you bowl. You don't push too much. You don't put too much thought into it because I guess when you are 18, 19, 20, yes, nowadays, I think with a lot of coaching and everything, you tend to learn to think about the game a lot quicker. It wasn't that for me. I was a pretty late bloomer. So, getting into those things like why is he putting a short leg for me and why is there no long on and why is he putting the a slip. Uh, these things I learned from those tours, and how you have to get ready, or you have to be in a different mental space when you're facing different kind of bowlers and things like that. So it was very, very interesting time for me. Yes.
How do you recall Roger Binney as a coach? I recollect you have told me that Roger Binney was your coach that time, isn't it?
Yes, yes,
How was
yes.
your experience
And
working with?
see, those days, I mean, for us, it was a big, big deal that one, you are going to talk with one of the greats of the game. For us in those days, 83, World Cup was the only World Cup that we had won, right?
Right.
And so it was a very, very special thing to learn from him. He never tried to change the basics of your game. He would let you play, he would watch. Yes, but he would put in a few, minor things in your head, and he would like you to think about it. That what would you do about that kind of a thing? Like, if you remember, I mean, we had a chat about this long time back. I think a left arm bowler. His name was Ashish Roy. Okay, pretty nippy at that age, and it was special because that was the first time I saw someone at that age group who came into bowl and he actually broke a stump with that pace. Okay,
Right.
so okay, I mean, maybe it was 85, 86, but for us that was a big deal, right? I mean, you are playing with your friends in college,
Hmm.
and from there you suddenly go and you start facing seam ball, and you're fully padded up and helmets and all, and from there then you get to face that real kind of pace that they talk about. But okay, I don't know, I don't remember, I was pretty young those that time, but he was bowling left arm. He was bowling over the wicket for me, and of course I was finding it a bit difficult to tackle the ball which is moving away from me. I did not have a very good defense on the off. So what I did, I was standing on middle. I played and missed a few times. I took a guard for the off. So you can basically understand all three stumps are covered now. So do what you can do. He got me plumb LB. Now, slowly then, he came and, okay, if you try, just opening your stance a bit. What you're having a problem is you're standing square and you're having to peer over your shoulder to see where the bowler is coming from. So if you want to improve your visibility, just open your stance a bit. See, these things now, we are talking about it on television and things like this. So kids who are playing now, for them it's maybe it's pretty natural. Oh, this is a very simple thing to do, but for us, for that time, I did not have that kind of a cricketing brain to think, oh, if I open up my stance, or if I just, maybe shift my leg more to the back, I can have some extra time, or I can, cover the movement, and I can have a better view of the bowler running in towards me, who's a left arm orthodox. But eventually, then that helped, and that's how small things it changes the way you play. But of course, I mean, because I was wearing a specs always, even when I was playing for Maharashtra. It's a bit difficult, to be very honest with you, because I don't have a plus, specs. It's minus, and it's -6, so it's a pretty big difference. And I'm not comfortable wearing lens, so it made it a bit difficult for me to judge, because it says it hampers your reaction to an extent. Okay, I mean, for me, fielding was very enjoyable part of the game that I did, but it hampers your reflexes in a way that, I mean, to judge. Okay, you can judge. You can look at the way the batsman is going to move in a particular way, and you can, guess, and you can trust your instincts that the ball is going to go that way, and you are going to be ready to dive that way. But
Exactly.
I think in some way, the specs do really hamper it, the vision.
Yeah, but you have the option of kind of wearing a lens, isn't it? Does that help?
Uh, I'm never comfortable with that. It hurts. It hurts me. So I never got used to that fact. But I remember when I was growing up, and the first time I got the specs, I was in standard two, I think, most probably, and I was having a lot of problem looking at the blackboard. So I used to go back home and complain that okay, I cannot see, I have a headache or things like that. So one fine day, my dad took me to the doctor. He said, no, it seems that there's something wrong, and because of obviously it's in my heredity, so they were prepared for it, but they didn't know that it will come so soon. But anyway, we go to the doctor and he says, okay, it's minus. So from second to ninth, I mean, every 6 months, every 1 year, whenever you go for a checkup, your number starts increasing and increasing and increasing. By the time I was in nine, it was -6, and thankfully it stopped at that because the doctor had already advised, and he was in agreement with my dad at that point in time that okay, once he's 18 or above, and once is he's grown, then the power is not going to increase anymore. So once it's stable, we can go for an operation. But to be honest, by that time I was very used to wearing a glass, so I didn't want to go for an operation.
So
And other than that, I had seen a couple of, I mean, family friends who had gone for the operation, and but it came back eventually once more after a couple of years. So I didn't have too much trust in the operation, to be honest.
So, my next question, or like say, it is like a kind of trivia. So, the respect for
Hmm.
bespectacled cricketers goes up a bit higher. So, can you name a few
Yeah,
bespectacled cricketers we have read and heard of or seen in play?
the most famous one, of course, Anil Kumble, and you have Narendra Singh Hirwani, and then of course Dada. Dada has glasses. He doesn't wear it on the field, but he has glasses. Who else?
Think.
There are a lot. I mean, there are a lot. There are a lot. Of course, they wear lenses when they are on the field, but there are a lot who wear specs.
How? But Daniel Vittori, do you
Do
recollect
you
him?
do you? Oh, come on, man! the the baby faced assassin, huh?
Yeah. Another name that comes to mind is Clive Lloyd,
Clive Lloyd, of course, the great,
giant of the game.
great West Indies
Giant of the game.
giant of the game.
Even
No, no,
Virendra Sehwag.
I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
Will Sehwag, yeah, in his later days,
Uh,
yes.
I don't
But
think
the
it.
way the game that he played, if you realize the game that he played, even a little bit of obstacle in his vision, it
Yeah.
would be a big step for him.
Yeah. But Sehwag on his latter day, I think by that time his reflexes, he had also realized that his reflexes had also kind of fallen. Like means like
Deteriorated
it was
time, yeah, yeah,
deteriorated by that
of
time. Zahir Abbas is another one. If you recollect him, Zahir Abbas.
course, of course, of course.
And
No, no, no. I was just thinking of the ex-Indian cricketers, not of the whole. I mean, the world stage. I was just sticking to India, India.
yeah, I mean, obviously India. I mean, we relate more to India, but again, at the same time, some there are giants of the game like Jeffrey Boycott. Boycott used to
Geoffrey
first
Boycott, yeah.
bat in glasses before he switched to his contact lenses. So that was one of the aspects. I mean, not many people know about it. When then Zair Abbas,
Mhm.
obviously, as I mentioned, then there are a few others like these are not well known in maybe in direct memory, but again they were like accomplished cricketers in their own right. For example, Dilip Doshi, the Indian spinner in his late 60s and 70s who had played.
Right.
So Dilip Doshi used to wear. David Steele from an English cricketer, he used to wear. Mike Smith,
Yeah.
again from England. And then there was Paul Allott. You have seen Paul Allott in commentary. I mean, he has covered a lot of
Of course.
for yeah. So that's one aspect. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, we got to appreciate it more, like how it becomes progressively kind of difficult, especially when cricket is such a contact game. Also not counted, but it's such a hand-eye coordination game. So that's one aspect I
Right.
want
No,
to.
no, I would have loved to get. I would like to get an answer from Mr. Boycott about how he felt was the challenge, because I'm sure he'll be still putting down Daniel Vettori for wearing glasses against him wearing glasses and facing West Indies quickies. He will find a way to somehow squeeze that in.
Yeah. Okay, Saikat, my next question to you would be like, on your favorite memories when it comes to your favorite books. Let's start on a different note on books. I mean, your choice, whether choice is like first is a detective, second is like sports, third is like wildlife, and fourth is of literature. So can you just rate in order of
Okay.
what is your preferences?
First is, you said detective, right?
Detective, yeah,
Of course, you and me both same. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, of
yeah,
course. Then Satyajit Ray, not too far off.
yeah.
And here I have a thing which kind of bothers me, because there are a lot of people now who have read Feluda,
Mm-hmm.
and they seem to think that Feluda is for all ages. It was not meant to be for all ages. It was meant to be for children, for teenagers, right?
Exactly,
So
exactly.
if you read Feluda when you are 32 years old and 35 years old, you're obviously going to find flaws in that. And so to hold Satyajit Ray for writing books uh, and saying that Feluda is not equal to to Sherlock Holmes, yes, he was not. But that's another topic that he did not write.
I
That book
don't
was
think that's a fair comparison. I mean, people who have known
exactly.
like it's a thing is like I think in one of his interviews in Sandesh magazine, Satyajit Ray had himself mentioned like, see, people have asked him like all adults have asked him like, why doesn't Feluda have girlfriend? Why doesn't he have affairs?
Exactly.
Why doesn't he have a wife? Why doesn't he have all these things? So he was asked that
It's not.
question. So Ray had answered like, see, when I started writing Feluda, when I conceptualized, it was meant for adolescents, for youngsters, like young boys and girls of say 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, this age group, like who have a very creative mind, who have a very thinking mind, for them. And for them, these things don't matter. I mean, or at least it didn't matter then. I mean, they always wanted a kind of a superhero or like, I mean, a very clean kind of a guy who always relates to them and with a very, the next door guy with a very cerebral, like attitude. But the problem, he said, it started when these kids started going to school and their parents started reading it.
Exactly. It was not meant for that age group, basically. And I mean, to any in any way to disrespect someone like Satyajit Ray is, uh, I mean, it cannot be done. Come on. I mean, even Hollywood has. We were just talking about it a few days back. The
Yeah,
story of E.T. is
ET.
exactly what he had written. The story is from Satyajit Ray. And how many people know that?
Yeah,
That is the thing.
yeah. So I mean,
So
and
yes,
rave for I mean, again, there are so many experts on rave, and we don't never claim to be that, but we are just followers and avid fans of Ray, and maybe people who have done more research on him would be able to further shed light, because Ray till his 40s he was more into creative writing and auditing and copywriting. That's what my understanding is. The regarding serious filmmaking, I think after the age of 40, and when he started creating those, I mean, he had those things in mind, and he himself had admitted like, okay, my it's all about my surroundings are in Bengal, in Calcutta, and restricted to these places. So, but gradually the word spread out. Then he kind of recognition, quite late recognition. That's another thing. But even his,
quite late.
I mean,
Right.
people talk about Pother Pachali today, or let's say Ghore Baire, or say Aguntuk. One of my Maharashtrian friends, who's an actor by profession, he was discussing a few days ago, there was a Marathi movie that was made like some Rajwade and Sons. That was a kind of a straight lift
Okay.
from Aguntuk, the film in which Utpal Dutt had acted on.
Well,
So,
yeah.
so he said like, I mean, and said I mean, what was it plagiarized or like that's a different matter. But the thing is like people have drawn inspiration from his works, from all his old works.
Even
Uh,
now, even now.
even now even now is that's first question. And the second is like as you mentioned the topic, like I mean it kind of hurts our sentiments, like I mean his bound script
Yeah.
and everything was ready. I mean and Spielberg, whether Spielberg directly was in the know, we don't know, or was like some other storyteller might have, or any of the script writers have told him, presented to him as his script. How would he come to know? I mean,
And
maybe after 2 years,
yeah.
3 years, you would have come to know that okay, this was written by Ray or something. So he had denied it that time. Look, I don't know if you had written or if you were the
Yeah.
creator of this script. These things.
Look, I am not questioning Mr. Spielberg or anyone on that. The
Yeah.
only point the only point that I wanted to make is that, okay, his movie, we are saying now that it is good. There were people in Hollywood before, long time before us, who knew
Mhm.
that he was good. So,
Yeah.
and I'm saying that especially today, because there is a thing with us that, okay, if someone is good nationally, it's not that big a deal. But once suddenly someone from outside comes and tells you, oh, no, no, this guy is really good, then you start sit and take notice. Oh, this okay. So someone from outside is coming and telling us, okay, this guy is good. That means that he is really good. So that kind
Mhm.
of thinking is still there. I mean, even if you look at cricketers, did we not have? Did we not know that Pant is really talented? We know it now, but it took IPL and some foreign cricketers to comment that no, this guy really has talent for us to really sit back and take notice of that fact. That no, this guy, and fortunately, I don't know what is happening, but that guy does deserve a longer run in the game.
I think there's too much of a pressure from the way he's a flamboyant batsman by nature. I mean that's his instinct and all. But and he has done like I mean obviously you can't ride on it for a lifetime. But again he did something which I mean he's the only wicketkeeper batsman to have scored centuries in England and Australia. That Indian batsman.
Yeah,
So that's a big thing. But
exactly.
again, like otherwise, we don't. I mean, like for example, another guy I find very talented is Karun Nair. Karun Nair, I think, is a wonderful player.
Karun Nair.
And unfortunately, I mean, when he was getting back into peak form last year when in England, so he was overlooked for the whole series. So what kind of selection thought process that goes in, we don't know from here. But I thought Karun Nair deserved a very fair go, and he dropped off his form, but again he picked it up that time, and he was one of the fittest guys in the team. So again, that's something. Again, we have questions like say, only the few selected ones would know. And from outside, it's like they might have their own dynamics of thinking. But again, I have no regrets about Hanuma Vihari being given a chance. Hanuma Vihari is a
Yeah,
batting development, and even Mayank
pretty special,
Agarwal. These are special characters. Like
special guy. Another one is we were talking about him in the World Cup, if you remember, the all-rounder who came in place instead of Raidu.
Vijay Bhardwaj. No, sorry,
No,
Vijay
no,
Shankar.
no,
Vijay Shankar. Yeah,
Vijay
yeah.
Shankar. Vijay
I
Shankar.
liked him. I liked him a lot. I mean, if you ask me, Vijay Shankar was supremely fit, agile. His bowling was supposed to be his weakness, but again, he won us a couple of matches with that bowling. His batting was very
Of
solid
course.
and fantastic fielder. So
Maybe he's not getting the proper, spot to show his batting skill.
he played pretty
He's
well in New
coming
Zealand.
down the order. He's coming down the order. He was expected to blast the bowling. Maybe that's not his game. Maybe he needs to come in a bit early to understand and then settle down, and then he can do that. But of course, there's a lot of time for him.
Hmm. Okay, Saikat. Next question I would like to ask you is about your favorite, let's say, in order of preferences, your chosen place of where would you would like to stay. Your
Wait,
options are
wait, wait,
Calcutta.
wait, wait, wait. We didn't finish the earlier question. We just
Okay.
covered the detective bit. We just finished the detective bit, right?
We haven't
And
finished the
there are
detective bit, by the way. We
yeah, not yet, not yet.
yeah.
And there are a few more writers. Of course, there is Robert Ludlum. There is
Ah,
okay. This is out of your syllabus, but Mario Puzo is one guy. I mean, I'm a big fan of that guy. I mean, Godfather. I have read 4 of the movie. So and not just Godfather, the first book, but all of them, and even the ones which he did not write, but someone wrote it for him. Even those ones. So, and then after that, what was your question? After the in the sports, I think the best sports biography that I have written must be Andre Agassi.
open.
I love that book. Open.
Open.
I
Oh,
loved
yeah.
it. I loved it. Okay, maybe it's a bit partial because I was always a Andre Agassi fan. So
And I was a Sampras fan.
I was crazy about Agassi. I was crazy about Agassi. So I mean, it was a wonderful book. You get to learn so much from the way he struggled, and he has no shame in accepting where he's gone wrong.
Mm.
So that shows how much it takes for even because we look up to them as these demigods,
Mm.
these sports person who can do no wrong. But there he is accepting where he has gone wrong, what he could do to improve, and how for a young tennis player to what he has to do to try and avoid those pitfalls. So wonderful book. And then of course I loved Sunny Days.
Sunny days.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Sunny Days, yes. Um, but to be honest, I mean, I have been let down by a lot of cricket autobiographies because um, I was very excited. I mean, like I think million others to read about Tendulkar once that book came out, but supremely disappointed in that book. Then Shane Warne, not to that level, but yes, it could have been a lot better.
See, I mean, rather than, I
Uh,
mean, I can understand where you're coming from in this actually, because we as followers, I mean, we want to understand more about the psychology, the preparation, the kind of tense moments where, I mean, the kind of thinking that goes into executing some of the plans, the current situations, and how the match situations and how the series prepare and all these things. We don't want to know what is already there. It's already there in the public domain. Even
not
I can know from a
not
sport
just the
reporter.
statistics. I mean, if I just want to go through the statistics, I can go into cricket form, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
and uh, I mean, okay, in Sachin's book, if you remember, and he scored his first Ranji century. I mean, what the hell? Where is the history behind that?
Mm,
What did he think about before going on to play that game?
mm,
There was nothing, no description at all. Oh,
mm,
he just scored 100. That's it,
mm.
and his first Ranji 100 for that matter. So that's where it left me a bit disappointed. But again, two Australian greats. One was Steve Waugh. His
Yeah.
book is brilliant, and of
Out of
course,
my comfort zone.
out of my comfort zone. And again, then, but I would highly recommend to read his diaries, the diary entries that he used to make,
Mm,
and he used to publish those when we were young. If you remember, there were some entries and some they had printed articles about those during the Ashes. So those are pretty special because the kind of things that you and me want to know about the technicalities of the game, it's more in those diaries. And then, of course, Ashes diaries, if I remember,
Ashes Diaries.
Ashes diaries. And then there is, of course, the book by Matthew Hayden, Standing My Way,
Yeah.
Standing My
Yeah.
Standing My Way. Yeah. So, oh no, I think I'm messing up the name. But anyway, it's Matthew Hayden's autobiography. That's if you have not read it, give it a go. It's a brilliant book.
Is it?
I liked it.
Okay. I haven't read
It
it.
is.
I've heard of it. I've not read it.
He has talked in depth about his relationship with Andrew Simons and where it got wrong and where it went wrong, and about some of the controversies. Okay, of course, we will not like some of it because it's his perspective of telling things. But for a cricketer to be honest enough to come and say what he feels is very, very rare. So I
Mm.
liked it. So these are a few cricket related and sports related books. There was one fiction, if you remember, we were very young. There was this story. It had come on Hotsara, I think, Pujo Varshiki. And the story was Gora Chand. It was about a boxer who comes up, okay,
Okay.
from the adversities of his life. And there was another one in Bangla about a footballer. It was heavily inspired from the story of Pele, but I was too young to know it is inspired by that. But I love that story as well. So these are my favorite sports-related books. Then, okay, I have read Herschel Gibbs, but again, a little bit disappointed there, to be honest with you. That's enough for sports. The next topic was comedy. Yes, of course, comedy. Narayan Devnath. Uh, he is my all-time favorite. I mean, even now, if you give me one Tenida, I can spend a whole night reading that. In fact, I remember the first time I bought a Kindle, I did not care what are the free books, what are the books available, and how to use it. The first thing I did was to try and find Tenida Samogro, and that was the first book I actually downloaded on that. The second was, of course, it was Sachin's biography, which I had downloaded on that. So the first book I read on my Kindle was Sachin's biography, and I was not a happy person after that any which way. But okay,
Yeah,
and
coming to
if you
books,
remember,
do you recollect that that book Kolabutir Dekha Shona? I mean,
yes, yes, yes,
I mean the
Moti Nondi, right?
Modi Nondi's Ki Ghoda Modi Nondir. Huh. So I mean here the story about a girl who covers the Kolkata Maidans and has different stories whipped around those actually. As a kid growing up, I think it was pretty fascinating to know and understand how things could means were happening or were supposed to be happening. So
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When we were growing up, if you remember, maybe we were in what seventh, eighth, hardly, and that my mom used to buy these pujo barshikis, okay, and
controversy.
this fat and everything, right? And I used to look forward to that because obviously, you get to read a lot of stories from
Yeah.
there.
By the way,
But I was
how do you
banned
rate?
from the.
I mean, coming to Pujo Varshiki, how do you rate Colonel Shamagro and our Arjun? I found them very entertaining actually. The style of Colonel, I mean,
Entertaining,
Colonel Niladri Sarkar,
entertaining,
how
yes,
yes, Colonel Niladri Sarkar
yes.
and Arjun, I relate a lot actually because I kind of love the North Bengal countryside and how it is like Siliguri or those places. It has a yeah, that mystic around it, like it's a very fascinating place to be, less crowded
You
and
know, the, you know, it's funny when you read a book and it kind of paints a picture in your mind about the place, right? So I remember this vividly. There's a story in Kiriti, okay, Kiriti Shamogro. So there's this story about him going on a train to a remote place in North Bengal, and then the apparently the house is haunted. It is not. I mean, that's the story. Eventually, it comes to how it is not and why it is not, and who are the main players behind, making people think that the house is haunted and things like that. But I just remember a very specific passage in that story that he gets in the train. The crowd, the way the people are sitting, the way it was described was brilliant, man. So I mean, it's funny because here you are sitting with the book and you are like actually you can think. So this is how it looks, and you have a mental image of okay, I go to that place and this is how it is going to look. So nothing can be better than that. Nothing can be better than that.
how about Enid Blyton? I mean, from the famous Five series or like
Of,
Hercule
of
Poirot.
course.
Hercule Poirot, do
We,
you?
you remember we used to get these books from our school libraries, man. It was awesome, awesome. I loved them. I loved them. Even, I mean, since I was such a voracious reader, I used to even pick up Nancy Drew at one point of
Nancy
time.
Drew.
I mean, yeah, and I have read a few books of Nancy Drew too. So, but Enid Blyton, yes, obviously, I love the books. I grew up reading a lot of stuff. And of course, do you remember Nonte Fonte, Batul the Great,
Of course,
Hada
of
Boda?
course, of course. Hey, Dante Fonte, Hada Bhoda and Batulda. Batulda,
Batulda.
Hada Bhoda. But Nonte Fonte was in a different book. Keltuda. Keltuda was the other
Keltu,
character
I
in that.
know. And
Keltuda.
you know which character I have in my mind when I think of Ketuda. You know that person very well.
Totally visualized, huh?
Straight away, straight away.
I wanted to think about Gonada also. I mean, but again, Gonada is like
Uh,
Gurudev Manush. I mean, no one can come close to him.
the kind of thought Premindra Mitro put in that character
Uh,
is, I mean, he did just imagine to write a character, a comedy character, someone who's seemingly bluffing his way out of situations. But the thing was, the background about that was so perfect, and you could read about it and you knew things, you knew stuff that okay, this is what the history of the thing is. I remember reading about or hearing about El Dorado the first time from
yeah, yeah.
Gonada's book, and then oh, this is a real thing. Oh wow.
You remember how Chandar Pahad? Chandar Pahad was
Ah, yeah, of
such
course,
a,
of course,
yeah.
of course.
I mean, the kind of imagination that went into it. The later the film was made, but again, on first look, it was okay. But when for relook, I said like, okay, they could have done much more justice to some of
You
the
mean
characters.
the new one that they came up with?
Yeah, the in which they've acted on. I mean, fine, as for I mean, if it was for kids and all. If it's that's okay, but they totally made a character a hash of that character of Gunit. I mean,
To
if
be
they have
very honest with you, even if I sound elitist, I do not watch Dave movies at all. I have taken a decision to strictly stay away because I cannot see my favorite books die like that. Okay,
yeah.
that's one reason. The other thing was I've seen a lot of hype about him, but I don't understand it. Why? So
Coming back to
that's
I
my
mean
part.
again I
Okay.
must admit the production value of that film was pretty okay. I mean pretty good actually. I mean the way they took that kind of
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
effort settings and all in Africa, a lot of things were done right, which is to be if you remember one of the books I really want to talk about the next is like Shikar Kahini. You remember the Manitors of Savo?
Of course, of course. The Ghost and the Darkness,
The
man.
Ghost and the
Ghost
Darkness.
and the Darkness.
The movie,
Ghost
I
and
would
the
still say like the
That was
movie captured 70% of the, or like say 60% of the essence of the book. But again, it was a fantastic effort. It's just that Michael Douglas, being the producer, maybe he decided I should have a parallel role for myself there. So he
uh,
invented
uh,
invented a character for himself.
additional character. No, but I mean, that's the special thing about Jim Corbett. Uh, huge fan of that
Huge
guy.
fan.
Okay,
Yes.
and I'm not saying Kenneth Anderson is a wonderful writer. Ken, he's a brilliant
Yes.
writer.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Uh, Jim Corbett is on a different level
Hmm.
because the same thing that I was just talking about a few moments back. You know, the way when you read something, you start to picturize about the situation that he must have been in, and you read the way he's stalking a tiger, he's following the trails, and I mean, it literally runs shiver down your spine, you know. And I remember this because, okay, before reading the actual English versions, I read the translated the Bangla versions
Mashada Devi.
when I was a
Uh,
kid.
Mashada.
Yeah.
We
When I
all
was a
read.
kid. Yeah. So, and this used to happen. And again, why this is so special to me, this memory of Jim Corbett is because especially if you remember, we used to go to Kolkata only during our summer vacation. So one, it is summer vacation. Two, it is holiday. Three, I have booked. So there can be nothing better than that. So a typical Kolkata stuffy afternoon, and I just have the fan on full speed and my book, and I'm lying down, and that's it. I needed nothing at that point in time in my life. I mean, like, I didn't care if someone gave me food, if someone called me, nothing, because I was so lost in those stories.
Which is your favorite
Those were like brilliant.
favorite story
The
of that?
only fault,
So you were saying something.
I would say, no. I was just comparing the work of Kenneth Anderson and Jim Corbett.
Hmm.
For, I mean, I think I read them both parallelly at one point in time, Kenneth Anderson and Jim Corbett, because end of the day both were Shikar Kahinis.
Hmm.
So when I was pretty young, I was in fact more a fan of Kenneth Anderson because
Hmm.
the excitement factor was very high.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the excitement factor is too high. Something is happening, and it's much later when I was, I had developed my own thinking, or when I had started to analyze, okay, what is the difference, things like that. That we had read about a possibility of maybe Kenneth Anderson, adding a bit of
Spice.
spice to the story deliberately. But I mean, that doesn't lessen his one bit. Both brilliant writers. I enjoyed his work. Coming back to Jim Corbett, my favorite book was the story of the leopard of the man-eater of Rudraprayag. Obviously, is a very obvious one. Everyone who has read him will say that. But I had another one. If you remember, there's this. I don't remember the name of the story, man. There's this rock, okay, which is hanging, and he walks and he crosses the tiger.
Chogar.
I can't remember the name.
You're talking about a chogar tigress.
So,
So
exactly.
it was like, yeah, he had two eggs, the bird eggs in hand, and he just stuck here, and he's just
Yeah.
crossing the rock. I mean, then and there are many illustrations also made in the Jim Corbett Facebook page we follow. Mr. Jerry Jalil, he has actually got a lot of people to come together, and he has given a wonderful illustration of how it is like. It was like he was holding. Hello.
Can you hear me, Somaji?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. No, the video was frozen for a minute. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were saying we were talking about the group Jerry Jalil has created.
Yeah, I mean,
Wonderful.
some of them have actually captured how it should be, and there are some great fans, great people there in that group who have actually traversed all across the world. Like Ali Akhtar is one person I know, and Quinton Otley is another, who have actually taken that research for different, totally how it should be properly done. They have kind of visualized with the coordinates where these places were supposed to be, kind of uh, it was shot. So they have located that rock amongst all the coordinates and all. They're using the maps. They have located the rock and the current situation, how they are, and how Jim Corbett had actually, like it was kind of it was a situation where it still gives you a shivers down your spine when you read through it. Like how. I mean, if he had hurried up, the tiger would have jumped. If he had delayed it, the tiger would have jumped. And what
Yeah.
he would have done that time? He just did. I mean, just took it to like, and thankfully, as he mentioned, like it was a rifle which he could hold by one hand. If it was a heavier rifle,
With
he would
one
have been
hand,
forced to
exactly.
take it on a
It
this
was
thing.
not possible.
His instinct would have given a
Yeah.
slightly different way. So slowly, he took it, and by luck or by providence or just sheer chance, when it fired the bullet, it went into the tigress where it was. Otherwise, it could have gone anywhere, and if just
Yeah.
injured or anything. We know how these things can be like a kind of a touch and go situation. Saikat, I would like to recollect one of these stories. It was, I think, Man-Eater of Segur, which Ken Anderson had narrated, in which he had narrated a very thrilling experience where he was sitting over a rock, over a boulder, and he was estimating where the tigress was supposed to, tigress would have come from the
Should
nala.
have come.
Yeah. Then he
It
suddenly
came
got
from the opposite side.
no, he
It
got a
came from the
feeling that someone was watching him, and he realized that
above. Yeah,
his hair started because the tiger had climbed up the. I mean, he had taken a direct jump on top of
exactly,
the
exactly.
boulder, and when he jumped
Right.
here, he fired, and then it kind of flew to him. Then he went
Yeah.
back. Then he was in a cash twenty situation. What to do now? If the tiger returns, I have no option because I don't. My gun is down. Now, if I
Hmm.
go downstairs, the tiger might be there. Then what do I do? So in that case, he said like any kind of decision is better than indecision. He jumped up. So I mean, listening to that, it was like I was reading that. It was a kind of a thriller of I mean, where we can.
Mind blowing experience. Those books,
Hmm.
really special. That's what I said. Kenneth Anderson was more of the excitement factor was much more in his book.
Yeah.
So obviously, I was drawn to that when we were young.
With the spice and exaggeration, whatever people say, I mean, it's not that we are the ones who are saying that. There are many people who have said that, like Anderson might have had exaggerated some of the stories. Having said that,
Hmm.
see, there are two ways actually to see it. Let's forget the exaggeration part a bit for some time. Uh, Two hunters are never going to have the same style, either of hunting
Exactly.
or of like tracking or writing, like this way. They're never going to have the same style. If you read Peter Henry Capstick's Death in the Long Grass, I mean, it was about
Yeah.
African savannas and how you will see it is a totally different perspective. I would recommend
Yeah.
if you have not read it, Death in the Long Grass by Peter
No, no, I
Henry
have done.
Capstick.
I have done. I have done. I have read it. I have read it. I have read that.
Yeah. Even he had a different way of shooting. I mean, those savannas are totally different ball game compared to Indian jungles, where it's like more of a chase sequence and still a few. You have a kind of space to play around with. In Indian
Yeah.
jungles,
Yeah.
especially where when people are looking for tigers, tigers are not always found in the open, and especially when it comes to man eaters. So it's a totally very unfamiliar territory. It can be from anywhere. So we don't know. Like Anderson might have a child because Anderson always, if you see, Anderson always sat on the ground or
Yeah.
not always on. I mean, he did, but he was very okay to sit on the ground. But on the other hand, after his first of couple of experiences, he decided, no, this is not a safe place. I mean, I can't be sitting on the ground in the night waiting for a mandate to come.
Hmm.
That was, he was very
Right.
young. uh, as he said in Champavat Tiger's story, like it was a mistake for him to be exposing himself to so much of a danger when the tiger could have easily come and got him. So
Exactly.
it's a kind of a different style of narrative. And now next coming
Even if you remember the temple tiger, do you remember the temple
Temple
tiger?
Tiger, of course, it's one of the most fascinating stories.
Beautiful, beautiful story. Yeah, I love that too.
I found Panar
Okay,
Manator
so we
also
covered
very
comedy. What?
comedy. I mean,
Sorry, which one?
yeah, in Temple Tiger had another component was the Panar Manator, Panar Leopard. Panar Leopard was also very
Yeah,
fascinating
yeah,
story. Yeah.
yeah.
So the best part about Temple Tiger is like how Corbett narrates him as a not as a tiger but another person with whom he's in a kind of a fight, kind of a. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm trying my best to
It's a
outwit him.
competition.
He's trying his best to outwit me. So sometimes he
How did
appears,
it?
sometimes he disappears. He does his stuff. I mean, he's eating his stuff and all this is going away. So he's just like, I did not know that tigers have a sense of humor. I know dogs have that. I knew crows have that, but I didn't realize that tigers have a sense of humor.
No, the fascination with tigers, started from that. From the very young age when we started reading Anderson and Jim Corbett and J.H. Hunter. And, if you remember, there was one more story called Nota Churi Malik. It was about a puma.
Exactly. Not a Shuril Malik. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, 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 yes. I don't
one.
recollect.
I mean, that's, I remember. I mean, there's a description about how the hunter comes to know that the tiger is approaching or the puma is approaching him is because he gets a smell of something like a tobacco. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
that's apparently the smell of puma. but he was astounded because he thought that, okay, puma cannot be that powerful to bring down big animals, but this one was a crazy one.
Saikat,
So
remember, if you remember in our Shikar Kahini, there was one story. It sent shivers down my spine when I was reading it as a kid. It was called the Maneater of Navegaon. N- na- Navegaon's cheetah. If you recollect that story,
Naga,
in
na
Marathi it
mune
was
potta.
called Losni or something. So when I grew up, I mean, it was such a fascinating character, that leopard, how it hunted down people. I mean, leopards are not known to hunt in broad daylight, but it
Of
was
course,
a leopard which hunted in broad daylight, even taking away human beings. So that was a matter of Navegao. It was near
very
Nagpur.
fascinating. Because if you remember, leopards are not known to be to be seen very open.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah,
rare for anyone to have a leopard sighting. But now, I mean, even we read a article that you shared with me, I think, a couple of months back. You remember? It was somewhere in the northern part of India, in Rudraprayag
yeah,
or somewhere, where there was this leopard sighting, and it was again
yes.
because it was attacked men. Was very surprising part of that story. And there was this guy with a huge mustache who had posed with the leopard. I mean, the way it was,
Lakpat Singh
the
Rawat, you're
photo
talking
was
about.
bad. I
Lakpat Singh Rawat.
I don't remember. I don't remember the name, but I like the photo way he was posing with the spear and all.
Second, coming to these books, can you hear me? Yeah, can you?
Yes, now I can. Now I can. Yes.
Yeah. Second, you remember both of these physical copies of this book, na? I still don't find that one book. I searched with Nandini also. Nandini, she also didn't have that because I recollect I had taken that book. It was one of my copies. Maybe I had given to you or you had given to me. I don't remember. You remember Bonne Jongole?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do.
So I still don't recollect where I have kept the book. Like I mean, so that is
Man,
one book I
the
really
thing
want
is,
to have.
reread that again. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know, I know, I
exactly.
know. The thing is, I have because we traveled so much across India because of dad. The way dad got transferred, we had these two huge wooden crates. Okay, which was full of books, dad's books and my books and mom's books. And then later, of course, the more places I moved to, the more the number of books kept on increasing until I had the Kindle. Kindle made it a lot easier, but I still, miss that feeling of, picking up a book actually and reading it. It's something else. So let's do one thing. I have not settled down here as yet in the new home in Calcutta. You have come here, obviously, and you have seen the situation. I have not yet
Mhm.
unpacked fully. So there are at least 7 or 8 boxes of books. So of course, when I take it out, I'm going to keep it nicely somewhere. So that time I'll keep a watch if I find that, and I'll tell you.
Keep a watch for two books. One is Bonne Jongole and second is the Shikar Kahini. Shikar Kahini also, I think it must be in Calcutta. I'm not too sure. I don't recollect right now. So Shikar Kahini had two sections. One was the Indian section and second was the African section in which
African section.
Manitors of Sabo and a couple of other books were there. So I
Right.
think we have to divide this interview into a couple of multiple part one, part two, part three. It is never going to be ending. Okay.
You're still stuck on books. You're still stuck on books.
Just stuck on books. Books is the first and foremost. Okay. Okay, Saikat. Next question for me to you would be like say, we have covered books, detective stories. We have covered. We have covered Poirot. Uh, Another topic is
Tenida, we covered.
Tenida. We have covered it. What is your favorite Tenida story?
All of them. I can't pick one. All of them. I can read it any number of times, and I must have read it. I mean, I don't know, 100 times, but I still love to read them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Very, very special book. I mean, you can't help but giggle along when you read that kind of description. কান কটকট করে উঠলো, পেটের মধ্যে চিড়িক করে লাফিয়ে উঠলো. I mean, that's something else. I mean, it's brilliant.
Habul Kabla Pella, and we all of us were Pella. I mean, Narayan Gangopadhyay. And Saiki, from Narayan Gangopadhyay, one of I was speaking to one of my friends here, Urudai. I respect him a lot as a like as an artist and as a producer, as a person. So I was speaking to him like, Dada, if there is a chance of remaking or like making this kind of a serial or like a documentary on it, na, I would like to be a part of it. And that was about Ondokarer Agontuk. You remember the story? About
Yes,
Shimon
yes,
Purai.
I told him about it. Yes.
I think it's a fantastic material for a good movie. I think it's fantastic material.
Thriller.
Yeah, for a thriller or say horror, or even and with the style of Narayan Gangopadhyay, the kind of wry humor or comedy which he puts into it. You know, like how he was sitting there, like, okay, suddenly somebody came in and his every description. And there was another story from Narayan Gangopadhyay, even in the in Samoga Kishore Sahitya, in which he narrated about, if you recollect, uh, about a guy whose father was a uh, sweet maker. I mean, he owned a sweets and all. So he was a kind of good for nothing guy. He was always about eating and all. Then suddenly, to one fine day, to escape his father's beatings, he ran to a good station or a railway station, and he was so tired he slept in that malgadi. And suddenly the malgadi started. And it went on. I'll give you the name of the story. And when he reached there, then he found finally he reached there. It was a jungle in Bihar. He couldn't go anywhere. And suddenly when he hello,
Hello.
yeah, yeah. So
The video is free. Yeah.
yeah, this
Tell
time
me.
if it goes now, Saki, we'll stop the recording and we'll break for dinner, and then again we'll come back if that's okay with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure,
So
sure,
I mean,
sure. Not a problem. Not
we'll
a
close
problem.
out the meeting. Then again, we'll catch up on part two. Like mix part one, part two that way. Okay. So I mean, when he goes there, and then Daku, one of the dacoits, catches him. Then he takes him to his den, and then makes him learn the tricks of the trade and everything. No, nothing. He had to just go through the grill and all these things. And he became totally a youngster with a lot of power and strength. And finally, he saved then one fine day he was caught actually. Somebody he tried to run away, then he was caught. But the Sardar, he had a lot of faith on him, and he said like, I'm going to shoot you. But again, he had saved Sardar's life. Okay, from other people. Then again they were planning to loot a train. The dacoits were planning to loot a train. Then he went. He said like, okay, but if this train is being looted, many people will die because they are going to derail that plane, derail the train. And
Yeah.
so then he said, okay, forget everything. I'm going to stop the train before it derails. So he took a red kind of a gamcha and he went in front of the
Yeah.
tracks. Now that Daku Sardar, he said like, okay, no, he's done every limit. So he actually shoots him. So actually shoots him and then he falls on the track. Then the doctors come in and he said, now then the Daku Sardar comes and then he says like, this guy had saved my life and I was so inhuman to shoot him like this. So please catch me. He surrenders to the authorities. So after then it goes to flashback. Then after a couple of years or something, then the guy, he's a hero. Then he walks into the study of Narayan Gangopadhyay and he says like, with the box of sweets and all these things. Okay, yeah, you have it, you're sweet and all this. No, I don't have sweets anymore. But that was a lesson for lifetime. So how about the Daku Sardar? He said like he spent a few years in jail and for this. And after that he went to Rajasthan. Then he started working again on this thing. So it was a very poignant and very touching book actually. I'll give you the name for this. I'm sure you also would have read it, but it was such a beautiful beautifully piece. I mean, that's why I think Narayan Gangopadhyay, I don't know, I have read, I mean, we have read, but again, our language knowledge of Bangla is limited to few stories, maybe Bomkesh and a few others.
Bomkesh, yes. Hmm.
My limited knowledge on everything, I find Narayan Gangopadhyay very close to me, like for my kind of sensibilities.
Naran Gangopadhyay is very relatable. The language that he uses again is very, very easy for everyone to understand.
Mm.
And again, it's though it was meant to be for a very young, reader, for a very young set of readers, but everyone can read it. That's the
Mm.
beauty of it. And the first, the I think the first time I heard of Naran Gangopadhyay was not because of a story, not because of a book. It was during Durga Puja. We used to have plays that time, okay, and not where we had the puja later on, not the big near the Eagle Ground, not that one. We were still having the puja in the senior club that those days, okay. So we were pretty young. Maybe I was in third or fourth, and we had this play this 1 year, and it was beanball. So that's how I actually came in, contact with, okay, this is Naran Gangopadhyay, because I played the role of Tenida in that play. Okay,
Uh,
so it was beanball. It was brilliant story again. Uh, so that's how my love with Naran Gangopadhyay started, because I read that story. Of course, I had to remember the lines, so I was reading those lines and all, and then that name stuck in my mind, Naran Gangopadhyay. So the next time I came to Kolkata for vacation, I made sure I had a lot of his book, because I told my mom that I want Naran Gangopadhyay books. So she said, "Good, they are good. I'll take you." So she took me to the shop, and they had this huge, bundle omnibus, the whole omnibus, and
Omnibus.
that
I
was
still
it.
have it. I
My
have it here. Even here, I have Shamama Kishore Shahidya, which I read it
stomach to British,
from
right? So right, right, right.
part 4 parts, and I have it. Second, next question for me would be like about in Bomkesh. I mean, I'm sure we have all read. Uh, which are your favorite characters, and which are your favorite stories in Bomkesh Ramaguru? I mean, I'm sure there are a lot.
Makosha Ross is one which I love.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, the one about the quicksand, that is
Chorabali.
very, very interesting. Chorabali,
Chorabali.
that's another one. Then there was one Lohar Biscuit,
Lower Biscuit. Yes.
Lohar Biscuit. So these, and the thing with Bomkesh stories is that even now, if you're reading it for the first time, even sometimes though you know the story, I have read it many times, but still when you start reading it from the start, there is no way that you can guess this guy is, or this is happening because of this. And Bomkesh is more relatable to the older generation, because of course it shows a different dynamic. He has a wife, friends and things like that, unlike Shilpada. So there are a lot of characters in a story. Uh, they show him falling in love with Satyabhuti and things like that. And the the new Bangla movies that they have done on Bomkesh, they are really good, really good.
Jishu and Abir. I
Abir,
think Jishu and Abir both have done justice to the
both
roles actually. Even Ajit's
brilliant,
roles, Hrithik has
brilliant.
done pretty well for that. Yeah, Shashwatu,
Right.
Hrithik, fantastic. I mean, I'm
Shashwat
really
has done one.
both Arindam Sheel and Anjan Dattu. I mean, they have really done really good work on this. Really good work.
Even there is one series on Bomkesh. I think
Yes,
it's
yes. That's true. Shobhu son. I don't. What is his name? Shobhu son acted on this, right? Go.
I don't remember if it is
Yes. Bomkesh
Shub-
series.
Bomkesh series, but I don't know if it is Shobhasati. I didn't know that,
Gorango
but
Chakraborty.
it's pretty good.
Gorango Chakraborty,
No, no,
the
not that.
youngster he plays. I'm a big fan of him. He's a very good actor. I like the way he portrayed everything.
So then
Another thing I would like to
I
recommend
have
you.
yet to see it.
I would like to recommend you. I have not seen it, but I saw a few glimpses of it. There's one Bengali actor called Anirban Bhattacharya, and
Yes,
he has kind of I think
the one.
Bomkesh. Yeah.
That's the
Uh,
one I was talking about. I have seen that series, and he has done a great job. Great job.
yes. In modern settings, how he has done that. I have not seen it. I have seen a few glimpses of it, and I'm very impressed. Anirban, I have seen in a couple of movies. Those movies are like say in the Gumnami, then Shahjahan
Gumnam.
Regency, and a couple of
Yeah.
movies. When he has really acted well. He puts his heart and soul. I mean, it's
No,
very
he's a very good actor. He's a very
very
good
good actor.
actor.
Very
No,
good
but
actor.
if you get a chance, so Mujit, download this app called MX Player. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Uh, there are uh, there's only one really good series, the Bomkesh one in Bangla, which you can watch. Others are shit. I mean, MX Player is not that famous. But I downloaded it only to watch Bomkesh,
I think I have
and
that.
I watched the whole series there. You
I
should
think I
try
have.
the one with Anirban is on MX
Is
Player.
there?
You
Is
should give
there?
it a try. Yeah, it's
MX player, right? So I'll
there.
watch it. Okay.
Give it a
Thank
shot.
you.
It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Very
If
nice.
you don't mind, we'll break for dinner and then I mean you
Sure.
have it and we can rejoin again.
No worries. No
And
worries, boss.
it is actually good if you can split it by part one, part two, na? So the file size also it's easier. So I don't know. I think
Yeah.
so far it must be like 1 hour, so it would be kind of more than like 200 MB or
I don't
something.
know.
So
It's not even showing me the total duration of the meeting anywhere. So I don't know.
I'll
But
try
it
and
has
share
to be
with you.
more than an hour. It has to be more than an hour at least that we are speaking.
Yeah, next next topics would be films. After dinner when we meet, next topic we'll talk on films. So I'll try and send you the file by WeTransfer right now, and then maybe you can download it, and then we'll see what can be done about it. Yeah.
Sure. Let's do
Okay.
that.
For the audience, we're just taking a break for dinner, and we'll rejoin with Saikat after the dinner. Till then, see you. Bye. I'll call you. Yeah.
See you later.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.